if you didn't see my Instagram story from the other day, I was on the water. I had a pretty big crash and I just felt like a little bit of pain in my calf, like nothing major. So I'd clearly hit the foil in the crash. And then I came off the water and I was putting my foil away and I'd realized that I'd basically snapped my foil. So if you can see here, this is what the Leviter stabilizer is supposed to look like. You'll see it's supposed to have this little like arrow tip on the top of it. And I came back and this was my foil, basically missing that entire arrow tip. And obviously I didn't notice it on the water, but I've now got a new stabilizer. But my coach, Roman, is now going to test riding without the arrow tip stabilizer pointy thing on his stabilizer, and we're going to see how it goes. Before we get into the training footage, I wanted to just make a little introduction to this series or this style of video that I'm doing. So I decided that I'm going to start this sort of vlog series. It's going to be called The Life of Dan. And I wanted to name it that as a sort of tribute to the show called The Life of Ryan, which, if you haven't seen it, is basically an MTV reality series from, like, I don't know, maybe the late 2000s, I guess, which basically follows the life of the skateboarder Ryan Sheckler. And at the time when it came out, me and my younger brother, we were obsessed with this show. And that's sort of what got both of us into skateboarding at the time. And so I thought it'd be kind of cool to make sort of a homage to that show with this sort of series, with the aim that by making these videos, I might be able to inspire some other people or other, young sailors or kiters to take up kite foil racing, or just sort of follow their dreams and try and get to the Olympics in sailing in general, or in any sport for that matter. I think I'll probably be the very first person who's doing something like this sort of format for Olympic sailing. Obviously, there's people who I've taken a lot of inspiration from in other sports in the Olympics, guys like Cody Miller, who's a swimmer who does a heap of sort of vlog style videos. And so yeah, the aim of this series basically to show you guys what's going on my journey / road to trying to get to the Olympics. Hopefully inspire some people to also pursue it and get into the sport. And finally, these videos, basically I want to make a video that I wish I had seen when I was 15, 16 and dreaming of going to the Olympics and sailing. But there was none of this content out there. So that's what this series is going to be about. This is the pilot episode. And without further ado, let's get into the broken stabilizer testing. Alright guys, so we are back off the water. We did like an hour 45, I think, hour 30. Got up to like 25 knots in the end maybe. I think Roman and I have very differing opinions about riding with the broken stabilizer. We both tried it. So Roman, what did you think?
With broken stabilizer it's better.
It's better. See, Roman thought it was better. I rode with a stabilizer which we both thought, or which Roman previously thought wasn't as good. And I didn't notice any difference from my now broken stabilizer, which is supposed to be our fastest one. It seemed exactly the same to me. And then when I rode the broken stabilizer, it felt for me like I just I didn't really have like grip when I was going upwind, for example. Like when a gust would come, I'd sort of slip a bit more and wouldn't accelerate as much as with the good stabilizer, or like a working stabilizer. But Roman felt on the fully working stabilizer that you felt it was more feedback from the good, like the non-broken stabilizer, or?
I think this stabilizer was better before it was broken, so it just worked better.
But what about the one I'm using now?
It's no matter this when this like in a winglet. No, it's not winglet.
Mm-hmm.
The stabilizer doesn't work, I think.
Mm-hmm. But what about the stabilizer on my board now? The one you thought is not very good. What did you think about that when you rode my board?
A little bit unstable on downwind.
Okay.
Upwind is pretty the same.
Okay. Okay, well that's it. That's the results of the experiment. We're going to jump into our debrief now. And then I'll probably come back to you guys later with some additional comments on this video and what you can expect in the future. So you've seen now the results of the broken stabilizer experiment. Roman and I obviously had very differing opinions about how the foil worked. Could also be just like a psychological thing, right? Like, I know that it's broken, so I might not think it's as good, or it might feel worse to me, whereas Roman always thought that stabilizer was better, so for him it might be that it feels better riding on that one. But yeah, that's it. Pilot episode of Life of Dan done. Let me know in the comments if you guys like this format of video, or if you've got any suggestions for how I can improve them. I've got a ton of ideas about topics that I'd like to talk about in future vlog style videos, which I think you guys will all find helpful. And so if you are wanting to keep up to date with those and see what's going on, make sure you hit the subscribe button. I'm going to try and get these out as frequently as possible. We've got like, I think 8 months now till the last Olympic qualifier. So I've got 8 months to make as many of these videos as possible. So let's get into it, and I'll see you guys next time.